Hola. Bismillah. Yo. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. What's up, fellas? Guys, obviously, not the result we were looking for. I have a couple of notes here that I want to go through. And I'm just reading some of the comments here. I know it's frustrating. We knew this was potentially going to happen. So let me quickly talk about a few things. First of all, I don't think Carlo Ancelotti should be the scapegoat here, and everybody blame Carlo Ancelotti. This is not down to Carlo. Right now, what we saw tonight from the team, I saw a team with an identity, with a plan. We played well in the first half. I saw the defensive block in the beginning was a front three of Arda, Brahim, and Mbappe. I saw the system change immediately after the first 15 minutes. But what can you do in a game where Mbappe is just a shell of his old self? He misses a penalty. At no point when Mbappe has the ball do I believe that he's going to do anything. At no point when Mbappe has the ball do I believe that he's going to score a goal, create something. The guy does not look like himself at all. Like today, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, the fact that we had this many injuries, we could have used Rodrigo today. If Rodrigo was on the pitch today, if Tchouaméni was there, if Camavinga didn't get hurt, half the team is depleted. No Carvajal. Valverde wasn't in the middle of the park. Modric looked old today. So let's talk about the actual team selection. I had no problem with the team selection, minus the fact that I don't know that I would have started with Modric. Starting with a guy like Modric and a double pivot with Camavinga, in those transitions, when Liverpool turned the ball over, he looked like a guy that was almost 40. He didn't have the legs to keep up and be able to recover the ball. So was that really the wisest move when you had a guy like Ceballos on the bench and you could have had Modric come in later in the game? But think about this, like that's what it's come to. What it's come to is we are looking at it, Danny Ceballos as the better option as a starter versus Luka Modric because of how depleted our team is right now. So number one, why is it that there's this many number of injuries? Why? Why is there this many injuries? Somebody look at that. And why are we pressing the ball so high up the pitch early in the game? Everybody knows when you press the ball and it's not effective and you're not getting something out of your press early on, you pay for it later in the match. The fitness of the team doesn't look. We usually end games well. The fitness of the team is usually one of the areas where we have all these remontadas because the players actually physically can end the games better than they started them. And a lot of the teams that play us, they get tired later in the game. Our players are able to run and do something. But in this game, again, it's a lot of it's down to just the fact that we didn't have the quality. We didn't just have the players. Is Carlo Ancelotti to blame for some of this? Yes. Arda Güler is clearly one of the best talents in the world, but today he didn't look like it. Let's be honest. He didn't look like one of the best talents in the world. Brahim Diaz played well. He's arguably our best player because every time he had the ball, he was actually able to do something. But Modric doesn't have it anymore. On the ball, is he exceptional? Yes. But if the board is looking at this and saying to themselves, let's go ahead and fire Carlo Ancelotti, only to bring in Solari, because that's what they're saying is going to be the replacement. If Carlo is sacked, Solari is the manager. You're telling me Solari is going to do a better team than Carlo? He's going to do a better job with this team than Carlo. Let's scapegoat Carlo Ancelotti. Let's not give him the players that he needs to be successful. I mean, I'm critical of Carlo Ancelotti. Next season, we want a fresh start. We want to go into the Transfer market, we want to get Xabi Alonso. I'm for that. But for the rest of the season, you're telling me Solari is the better option than Carlo Ancelotti? I refuse to believe that. This comes down to the board not giving Carlo the tools that he needs. When you play Valverde, your best midfielder, at right back because you have no other options, how is that on Carlo Ancelotti? When Camavinga comes off and he's injured and he was a monster, he was the guy who's recovering the ball for us. He's the guy with legs in the midfield. And you bring on Ceballos, like the drop in our physicality was so apparent at that point. And at that, you could argue maybe you put Lucas Vasquez at right back at that point and you bring Valverde into the double pivot with Modric. But he doesn't trust Lucas Vasquez, and I don't blame him. One of the things I talked about before the game was don't let Salah be isolated against Ferland Mendy. And when that one opportunity where Salah ran at Ferland Mendy and he was isolated against him, he got a penalty. And you could see that Ferland kept on, signaling to say, hey, I need help. Somebody help me out. This guy's running at me and I need support here. We saw this against Leroy Sané when we played against Bayern Munich. So again, tonight, what I saw was players who are willing to fight for their manager. I saw an organized team, but we just didn't have the quality. Half our team is depleted. You have no Militao. You have no Carvajal. Basically, no Valverde because he's playing at right back. No Tchouaméni. No Rodrigo. Vinicius was in there. Man, if any of those chances that Mbappe had fell to Vinicius, it would be a whole different game. Vinicius is like, we have to appreciate the quality of Vinicius and how good of a player he is and how many times he's carried us across the finishing line. The streets know that he really is the Ballon d'Or. But something ain't right with Mbappe. Missing that penalty, but not just missing the penalty. Every time he had the ball in his feet, you just didn't believe he was going to do anything. He tries to cut in with the ball a few times. No situational awareness. He gets dispossessed a few times. But at the same time, the team needs to help him build up his confidence by putting him in situations and giving him opportunities where he can actually thrive, score, assist, affect the game. And that's just not happening. But something ain't right with Kylian Mbappe. This is not like to me, he's the worst forward that we have at the moment. Between Brahim Diaz, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Mbappe, he's the worst one right now. Like, there's no question about that. Like, Mbappe is clearly our worst forward at this point. And we all know the quality of this player. So we have to figure out what is going on with Mbappe because his mind, it's not down to a quality thing. We all know he has a quality, but something is wrong. And they need to work on that. It's a confidence issue 100%. So again, and that comes down to the manager. So I'm reading one of the comments that says Mbappe had one shot on target and it can't blame Mbappe. But the point is a few times we were in on transition opportunities, Mbappe had the ball at his feet and he just made nothing happen. He gave up the ball cheaply a few times. How many times did Liverpool almost score because Mbappe gave up the ball in really bad spots? And then they had a transition opportunity. They almost scored. I counted two at least. Of giveaways from Mbappe where Liverpool turned the ball around and they almost scored. So, yeah, he had one shot on target. You can't blame the penalty on him. I hear what you guys are saying, but the guy has been poor. He's been awful. Today he played like he was horrible. But one guy who wasn't horrible that we want to talk about is Raul Asensio. Raul Asensio actually is really impressive to me. This kid actually proved to me that he could be good enough to be part of the squad, a rotational player, a player who's good enough to be in and around the first team. But if you're telling me we're going to go with Raul Asensio for the rest of the season, again, this is what worries me about the board. They'll find whatever they can find to justify not going into the winter transfer market and getting somebody. If we don't take this seriously, if this winter transfer window, we don't go out and get more than one player, We're not winning shit this season. Real Madrid is not winning shit this season. Nothing. Zero. All you could do is focus on next season. It's a crisis situation, and it's not down to the manager at this point. Can Carlo Ancelotti do a lot of things better? Yes. At times under Carlo, does it look like we have no team identity and there's no patterns of play? Since Tony Cruz left, has we looked really poor? Absolutely. I'll say yes to all those things. But I didn't feel that way today. I felt like with the team that we had, the players that were available, he did a really good job in organizing them and coming up with a clear plan and strategy. But at the end of the day, he can only do so much with the players that are at his disposal. So this Liverpool team is not exactly impressive. The old Liverpool that we beat over the last few seasons, in my opinion, is stronger than this Liverpool team. It's just that our quality, our level has dropped. So again, to me, Carlo, you can say Carlo Ancelotti has no tactics at all, but I don't agree with that. Again, Camavinga comes off today. He's injured. Look, he looks at the bench. Who does he have? An Arsenal reject, Danny Ceballos. No disrespect to Ceballos, but Ceballos wasn't good enough to cut it at Arsenal. And now he's coming in a Champions League game where we must win. We had to win 3 out of 4 to make it so that we didn't have to go through the playoff knockout stages. Now we have to win our remaining games, all of them. We have to win the remaining games. We're going away to Atalanta next. And I don't know if we're in danger at this point of not even making it to that point. Because if somehow Real Madrid doesn't make it to the playoff stages, or if we get knocked out really early, of course Carlo is not going to be kept around for next season. So today, again, I don't put this all down to Carlo Ancelotti. I don't think this is Carlo Ancelotti's fault. But a few things I want to talk about before I wrap things up. Jude Bellingham, clearly he's a player we need on the ball as much as possible. Jude Bellingham is the kind of guy who can receive the ball under pressure, and he can do something for you. Today we played out of possession a 4-4-2, and he was on the left-hand side. So when he's getting the ball and we're in transition, he's not in places where he can really affect the game. So why can't we find a system where Jude is playing more centrally? I thought in this game we were going to utilize Jude higher up the pitch. We're going to use him as a box presence. We're going to use his physicality in the box so that at least maybe there's a target. But every time we receive the ball wide, there's nobody centrally. There's nobody in the box. You have no target man. There's nobody to create space for our wingers. And that's, again, down to the recruitment, down to the board. That's not all down to Carlo Ancelotti. So, anyways, today we needed to take this L. The season is not over. There's many more games to come. And the board, this is a wake-up call for you guys. And no, Mbappe is not another Hazard. Man, jeez. I pray to God that it's not another Hazard situation. I mean, the guy's so young. He's 25 years old. He's got his whole future in front of him. But again, today was a depleted Real Madrid team. This is the weakest Real Madrid team that has played Liverpool in I don't even remember how long. Half our team was not available. Of the starters, how many of them were actually fit today? Militao starter, Carvajal starter, Tchouaméni starter, Vinicius starter, Rodrigo starter. That's 50% of the team right there. Starters that were not available today. So congratulations to Liverpool, but you guys didn't beat the real Real Madrid. And if we can recover Vinicius, we can recover Rodrigo, Tchouaméni comes back, we get a proper right back in the winter transfer market, then you're looking at a whole different Real Madrid team. So I know for a fact Real Madrid will be back. It's just a matter of the board giving Carlo Ancelotti what he needs to be successful. So let's not scapegoat Carlo. If you guys think Solari is better than Carlo Ancelotti and he's going to do a better job than him, I don't agree with that. So anyways, that's all I got to say for this one. I hear some of you guys in the comments saying you're defending Mbappe, and I disagree. Like, give the guy time. We'll be more patient with Mbappe. He missed his penalty. It can happen to anybody, but he hasn't been good at all. Do some work without the ball. Do some pressing, Kylian. What is going on with this guy, man? Somebody figure this out because the guy is a shell of himself. Even at halftime, I see him like going into the tunnel with his head down. He has no belief in himself right now. Um, but yeah, anyways, that's all I got for this one, guys. We definitely need to start fixing up because this has been shit. It's been fucking terrible. And yeah. Well, this ruined my entire week, and there's nothing more painful for me as a Real Madrid fan after we take a big L like this to get on these live streams. There's nothing I want to do less. All I want to do is fucking like not think about football right now. But it is what it is. So we'll recover, and I believe that Real Madrid as a franchise, as a club, with our history and our tradition, will be back. So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and Hala Madrid will be back.